Hello and welcome back to Excel Chapter 1 Training, Activity 112, Creating and Formatting Sparklines. Now sparklines are a line graph within a cell, so it's going to show a trend. You've all seen them, like when you've seen a stock market chart. You've seen the lines going up and down, showing which way the Dow has gone that day. That's a sparkline, and we can create those very easily in Excel. The first thing we have to do is select the range. Where do we want the sparkline to appear? So we're going to select the range B4 through D7. So again, we can either come up here in our box and put B4 colon D7, or we can click in B4, hit our white mark there, and click with our left mouse button, and we're going to drag down to D7. So we've got that range selected. Now we're going to go to our Insert tab because we're inserting sparklines. Over here in our charts, right next to it is our sparklines, and we want to put in a line. The line type sparkline, and it's going to say, okay, first, what's the date range? We've already selected that, so it's showing here B4 through D7. And now the location, where do we want it to show? We want to set the location as F4 through F7, so I'm just going to type in F4 through F7, and then click OK. And there's our sparklines. You can see headsets, trend, cells went up, holsters and cases went down. Now we want to show our markers, so we want to know, okay, where did January start, where was February at, where did March hit at? So up here on our sparkline tool, since we have our sparklines still selected, we can see different things that we can choose from to make it look a little better. And we want to show markers, so right here in our show button is markers. Now you can see we have dots in our sparklines to show where our different months are at. And then we want to change our style. So right here's our style. We're going to click on this More button to show different options. And we want sparkline style accent for darker 25%, the fourth column, second row. Click on that. And there's our sparkline. Okay, now that we have our sparklines put in, we're going to put some information in the footer area. Now we did this in Word, and it works a little bit differently in Excel. So we're going to go to the Page Setup dialog box first. So in the Page Layout area, we have Page Setup here, and over here we've got our little box with the arrow, and we're going to click on that, and that puts up our Page Setup dialog box. So we have Page, Margins, and here is Header, Footer. So if we click on Header, Footer, you can see up here at the top is where our header would go, and then here's our footer. And we want Custom Footer because we want this information just in the left section. So we're going to click on Custom Footer. And here we have our left section, our center section, and our right section of the footer. In our left section, it wants us to put the file name. We've got these little icon boxes up here, and those are different automatic, extend how we want. So here's we can format the text, or we can insert page number or number of pages. We can insert the date, the time, file path, the file name, the sheet name. We can insert a picture, or we can format the picture once we have it selected. Now we just want to put in the file name, so we're going to click on File Name, and it says And File. Now we'll notice we click OK, and right here you can see it put in our file name, 1A underscore quarterly underscore cells. If we were to change the name, it would automatically update, so we don't have to think about it again. So now we're just going to click OK. And so now when we view our worksheet, we're going to see that in here. And to go to Print Preview, we're going to go to File and Print. And then here's our Print Preview. You see here's our page right here, exactly what it would look like. You can see we have one page of one. And we're going to go back down to the normal view, so we can just click up on the home page, the home tab, and it takes us back to the normal view. Now we want to center our worksheet horizontally. So to do that, we're going to come up here to the Page Layout button again. Let's just go back to this dialog box launcher, and under Margins, we can center on page horizontally. So we're again messing with the page setup. So we're going to click OK. And now if we were to go in and print it, we would see that it is now centered on the page. Now we don't need sheet 1 and sheet 2 and sheet 3, so we're going to delete them. So I can click on sheet 2, I can just right click, put my mouse on sheet 2 and right click, and I can come up here and delete. And I can do the same thing on sheet 3 and delete. If I want to print one copy of the active worksheet here, I'm going to come back up to my File tab, just like we did in Word, and I'm going to go to Print. Over here I have my settings, I have my option, I can print the active sheet, I can print the entire workbook, or I can print just a selection. So maybe I just have a group of cells I want to print. In this case we want to print the active sheet, and so we're going to come up here and just click on Print. And we've printed our active sheet. If you remember earlier in the chapter we created some formulas, and if we want to see exactly where we put in the formulas, we can display them in our worksheet by holding down the Control key on the keyboard and then the tilde key, which is the key right next to the 1 key across the top of your keyboard. And now you can see exactly where you put the formulas in and what they were. And if we want to simultaneously auto-fit A through F, we're just going to make sure we have A through F selected by making sure our arrow is pointing down on A and then dragging to F. And then we can come up here to Format, and we can auto-fit column width. Another way you can do that is to select all of them and then double-click between like the F and the G or the E and the F, any of them, and double click and it will also auto-fit it. To do a spell check on our worksheet, first of all we're going to make A1 the active cell, so we're going to click up in A1. We can go to Review and Spell Check. And Spell Check works just the same way it did in Word.